Yeah, I think we're live. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Hi.
Uh,
Hey, Andrew.
good, good to have you back. Welcome everyone back to another edition of the Remote Tribe podcast. I'm Andrew Williams, the founder of Remote Tribe and No Code Academy. I've been a digital nomad for about 7 years, and I founded Remote Tribe to help people transition into remote work. I'm currently in Morocco, close to the beach, and I'm working from here for about a month. And I have got Ryan Mendonça close to us again, and we're going to be discussing again digital nomad businesses and what kind of business you can start whilst on the go and being able to remote work. So welcome back, Ryan.
Thank you for having me, Andrew. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm dialing in from Goa, which is one of my many bases. Originally from Goa, and I've been living here ever since COVID. But of course, traveling, living that nomad lifestyle. Been to anywhere between like 12 to 15 countries over the past couple of years. So excited to also discuss with you in the rest of this season about other new businesses that digital nomads can start.
Yeah, this is our fourth edition, so I'm really happy we've done so many because I think a lot of people have found them interesting. We've discussed about the different types of businesses, and now we've got a new chapter. We're gonna be discussing about three other businesses, and that is drone filming, writing a book, and the last one, Ryan, help me out here. I think it's social media management. Yes.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
travel influencers more
for
specifically.
travel influencers, yeah, obviously they do need that as well, and a lot of them don't have time to do it, so they hire people to do that. So of course it is a proper business as well. Let me just pull up the slides. And this is episode 4. Like, if you guys want to have a look at the previous episodes, you can find them on this channel. Just look back. We've been discussing things like digital products, e-commerce businesses, and things like that. So I think there's a lot of good information in there. Me and Ryan have experience in working with companies, and we had our own startups as well. So we're just trying to gather information for you guys to help you make better decisions when starting a business. And if you have any comments or questions, just please leave them in the comments below. Ryan, just let me share the screen right now.
Go for it.
Uh, Present slides. Just let me upload the slides for a moment. Here we go. Slides. I think this is it. I think we're good. Add to stage. Perfect. Perfect. This is
Okay,
it.
sounds great.
Fantastic. So again, this is the fourth episode. Let's get into it. First one is book writing. And by the way, guys, so the way we decide to score these businesses are one is easy or low effort, and five is difficult or high effort or difficult in general. So that's the way we've scored them. Obviously, we try to score them based on our research and on our experience in the business world. So Ryan, do you want to start with the book writing and your scoring, and give me your 2 cents on this type of business online?
For sure, for sure. So I think this is a really good business for not only people that like to write, right? Of course, because you do have to kind of write a book, but also for people that are really good at digital marketing, SEO, also paid ads and things of that nature, and they can find a niche that they want to tap into. Because besides, writing fiction or nonfiction and books that have a certain genre, right? It's also really good to write books that go into the learning space because right now a lot of Gen Zs, Gen Alphas, they're looking to consume content, get good resources, find these resources, right? And it may be in the form of a book, in the form of a course online. But now, since we're talking about selling ebooks, I think the ebooks that are generally more easier to sell are, of course, like nonfiction books. But of course, the other types of books, as I was mentioning, are like, self-help guides, learning tools, and providing niche expertise in the content space that you're most familiar and comfortable in. Like, for example, if I were to do it, right, I would do it around, building your legal structure for your entities, and how do you do business in multiple jurisdictions, right? How do you also maybe become a freelance lawyer like myself, right? And that could be targeted to other lawyers that want to do, a more
Yeah.
remote and flexible lifestyle and leave that 9 to 5
Yeah,
grind,
I
right?
mean, you can write a book about almost anything. You want to be quite specific, so you want to choose your niche, and also if you're good at something technical, that will probably sell very well because people are looking for specific solutions usually. So if you're like really good at like web design, or if you have a marketing system that works for a certain business, you can definitely write an ebook. What I want to add to that, Ryan, and that was very good. Thank you very much. So what I want to add to that is that you can also use a book, like a short book, as a lead magnet. So if you do like a few quality pages, let's say 5 to 10 pages, and it has a catchy title, it's good quality content, and you market it well, you can definitely use that to attract email addresses and upsell or cross sell other products based on that. I mean, it's a proper marketing strategy. Like a lot of companies do that. Like HubSpot, they have a lot of books there, and then they're very good actually with some really nice graphics, and then they will give you the book if you give them their email address. So it's something very common, so you can use that as well. I think we both said it's low effort, and it's low, I mean, it's not low effort, but it's low cost or capital.
Yeah,
You don't
low
really need.
cost, low capital, especially if you're writing the ebooks by yourself, and you're handling all of the publishing, the artwork or whatever that needs to
Yeah,
be there is all done by yourself. Then of
absolutely.
course you can keep the cost low, but then
You
that's where
can.
the effort and time goes up.
Exactly. And we both agree it's quite a lot of time. I can tell you that I've done this, and it does take, depending on how big you want the book to be, it can take anywhere between a week of nonstop working, like a few, like 7, 8 hours a day, to a month or two, depending on the size of the book. I just have a friend who finished an Angular book, for example. He wrote every day for about 8, 9 hours, and it took him about a month and a bit to finish a 120 pages book. And he's a very good programmer, and he started selling it. It's not going that great. It's hard, so people should expect that you have to market it well. You need that audience to market your book, or you can obviously sell it on Amazon or other publishers, in other places. But it does take time, agree. And again, like, you've got a limited time in your day, because you want to live as well. So if you don't have a team to back you up, or an assistant, or using AI heavily, which I don't really recommend, then it's going to take you quite some time to write a one book, for example, if you want to take it seriously.
Exactly. And I wanted to ask you one thing. When you're creating the book, and let's say you do all of it by yourself in terms of creating it, um, what are the ways in which you can, go out and, push it to the market, get distribution, bring it in front of multiple people? I mean, of course, besides the, SEO and the ads and the things that you've
So let's
mentioned.
talk about organic distribution, right? So the first one would be through your email list. If you already have an email list and an audience, then just tell the audience that you're launching a book. They can get on a waiting list, and they can even get a discount if they buy it early and stuff like that. And obviously, social networks, they're free. So if you already have your Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook audience, use that, and just tell the world you have a product. Others are Facebook groups, but they will not really allow you to post. Just maybe some of them. It's the book is very relevant to that.
Exactly.
Maybe on Reddit, and there are other places where you can actually publish your book. Like, I think even Gumroad. Gumroad is kind of a hacky website, where kind of a geeky website where people
Especially if
sell.
it's technical
Mhm.
related. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If it's like an SEO marketing or programming book, you definitely have to look at Gumroad. We're gonna leave the resource in the comments below. It's a great website. I've seen people selling their Notion templates, PowerPoint templates, all the way to marketing strategy books and stuff like that. So definitely a good place. And then you want to look at like medium sized publishers. I can't really give you examples, but some publishers would probably promote your book, if you reach an agreement on the revenue split.
Yeah, of course. And also maybe some, coming and giving you reviews, some explaining why they found the book interesting and things of that nature will also help.
Yeah, there are a lot of interesting ways to write a book. So I've heard recently it's very trendy to write an open source book where you actually invite a group of people to review your book or just write it together in a few video chat calls, where you can obviously if you have like an audience already, and you can just ask them what they want to know about the book. So I was reading a book about startup recently, and the guy built the book open source. So he had a few sessions with some users who were really interested about his entrepreneurial life, and they had questions about how to do this and that. So then he wrote the headings and the subheadings with their help and a few notes, and then he got some feedback in the first quarter of the book, then the half of the book, and so on and so forth. So have that in mind as well. If you have an audience already, try to use them, so to say, but the people will be very happy to give you their feedback.
Yeah, especially because if you've already created a community through your expertise for whatever it is, right? Then the easiest way is to start reaching out to them because they already know your content. They already have that validation over you.
Exactly, and we're back to the point that we make every single edition, which is build your audience. Start with that. Have a follower base on LinkedIn, on Twitter, be active there. Have a website, get email leads, and build that audience, because that's how you start. It's very important to have people interested in what you do before
Yeah,
you start building this kind of products. It's kind of, yeah, you can't really do it the other way. If you do it the other way, it's going to be much harder, I would say, if you don't have like an e-com shop where you sell products that people look on Google, for example.
exactly. That's why I
Yeah,
think the time to break even is really dependent on, your marketing strategy, the demand for your content, and of course, if you have effective
yeah,
marketing, you can then
yeah.
achieve, success in a very shorter span of time.
Yeah, so I think we both agree that it's easy to break even. However, that depends on where you market the book and if you have an audience to market the book. Like if your book costs, I don't know, it all depends on the volume, right? So if you have high volume of followers and then you sell the book for $1, obviously you're gonna break even quite fast. Then also, if you sell the book more expensive, have a higher price, but have a lower audience, you can also make good bucks. So I think if you market it smart and you have a channel, then I think it's easy to break even, because effectively you spend like maybe 2 weeks or a month, just divide that by the number of hours you spent, and then you can see how much it costs you to write the book per hour. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's true. I think with regards to scaling, it's only scalable once you have maybe one or two successful books. Create and sell additional copies. Um, that requires very minimal efforts, right? However, if
Exactly.
you're expanding beyond a few, successful titles, then you may either need more marketing efforts or go deeper or wider in a specific niche that you've already gotten into.
Yeah, I think you can scale that, so you can upsell, you can write other subjects that are somehow relevant to what you wrote before. And you can also use AI. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people are already using AI now to write books. I mean, I do encourage using AI, but you do have to change that and put it through your own lens. I mean, sometimes it sounds really robotic, and it's really not
Exactly.
fair for you or the audience. So, and also obviously it's not very personal. So you want to maybe use you want to use AI for rephrasing your ideas, which is fantastic. You can
Yeah.
use
Or even
Claude.ai or
reviewing your content, making
exactly.
sure your words are, properly using proper grammar, punctuation,
Correct.
things of that nature. Maybe
Correct. And
making
that,
the artwork.
yeah, exactly. You can, yeah, I mean, artwork would be a great example. You can get some really creative um, pictures for you based on your idea. So it's not really, it can be quite original. And then also you can get ideas about the subheadings and the chapters. If you're stuck, if you've got the writer's block, as they say, you can talk to ChatGPT and ask it about like different ideas on the book, and you can basically have like an assistant, which is great. So I think that will help you scale. So I think that's a good point. And I think the monthly revenue, it's quite dependent on the way you promote the book and how aggressive you are, or so how often you put the book out there. And also I think there's a life cycle to that book. I mean, if the book is not on trend, obviously you're not going to monetize it every month. um, So it does depend on the cycle and the trend. So expect to have like a peak and then a slow long tail until
Yeah,
probably it
keep
dies
believing.
off. And
No.
exactly like a bell curve or something like that. And then obviously you want to go to the next one and just do some research, see what's trendy about the topic you want to write. Check out Reddit. There are a lot of good tips there on reddit.com. Blogs, Facebook groups, see what problems people have, and then write about that and see if you can sell it. Obviously, maybe you wanna start with an MVP also for the book. You wanna test the market a bit, just put a few pages on Reddit and see if people would be interested that's how we actually I would recommend people doing it. In my experience, it worked well. So I did have a few ebooks in the past, so I just made people subscribe to the news about this book release or just shared a few pages on Reddit about it and then got some feedback. So that encouraged me to that gave me the green light to go ahead and write another 100 pages, for example. So do test your book. That's very important.
Yeah, I mean, you can't start out writing like a, 5-part series.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and won't do justice to the people that do buy the book, and don't see all of the content if it happens to die down, right? Or the motivation goes.
yeah, it is quite frustrating to spend a month or two in writing a book that no one buys. It's terrible. Like I've been through something similar, not with a book, and yeah, it's not a good feeling, and it's kind of a waste of time somehow. And yeah, it's just a pity.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Anything else to add, Ryan, to this one before moving to the next one?
No, I think we're ready to hop into the social media management for
Fantastic. I
travel
think
content
I,
creators. Yeah.
I think you've got more experience here than me, so I'm gonna let you start.
All right, cool. So I think some of the easiest examples, I would say, in terms of doing this, right, is managing Instagram accounts for content creators in general first, and then moving down to a specific niche, right? So maybe you can start with like food bloggers, people that review restaurants, hotels, cafes, co-living spaces, right? People that do a lot of reviewing in general, and these are people that make great content, but not necessarily have a paid or compensatory situation going on in all these places, right? They're doing it organic out of their own basically love for sharing and reviewing things, right? So you can reach out to them, offer like certain packages, right? Or allow them to basically understand how you're going to add value, by maybe scheduling meetings for them, bringing them engagements that you already know or your community is already interested in selling through these travel content creators, right?
Yeah, do the creatives for them. I think editing. I don't know where's the limit. Honestly, I do not have much experience with social media management. I don't know how it works, but in my opinion, I think so. A big part of social media management is literally just scheduling the posts and doing engagement with clients, with the other like people on social media, so you get noticed and then you increase the follower base. Probably some social media managers they also do the creatives and they do the video editing, which is quite big, but I think that's already going into another realm of video editing. But I think that could be part of the job as well. So as you're saying, I think the cost is low, especially because a lot of these. And I think we'll agree on that. I think a lot of these social media managers they work with the clients tool which can be Buffer or Hootsuite, and they just schedule their posts there. And also they probably use Canva for editing, and they have access to the social media networks of their clients and the engagement there. So the cost is literally just the intellectual capital and the work that you have to
The
put
time
in
that you put in,
initially.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So again, I'm happy that we're discussing about this one because I think it's a very very low cost option for people who want to work and travel. And obviously, we don't have to mention you can do it from anywhere as long as you have good internet. So that's great.
Exactly. And
I'll go.
the,
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
the, the time to break even, right, is what's the best part, right? Because the moment you're doing any, let's say, 2 or 3 deals for these social media influencers, right? Let's say you're bringing them an endorsement or a brand ambassadorship. agreement or something of that sort, right? Then you can take a percentage of those, revenue that you're earning for them, right? And that can really skyrocket your time to break even because there's literally no amount of cost in terms of entering into this, right? Besides
Yeah,
maybe tools and social media marketing, teams if you have to have two or three people under you that work for this entrepreneur. But of course, if you're doing it as a solo entrepreneur, then that's completely fine as well.
yeah, I mean, usually stories I've heard that they're interesting are about people offering the service for free. So I they will cold email a lot of influencers or small companies and say, "Look, I'm just going to take care of your social media if you allow me. I'm going to work for free for like 2 months. Let's see what the results are. If I can increase your follower base, engagement, clicks, CTR rate, and all that stuff." And then they get hired on a like monthly basis or like a quarterly basis. A lot of social media managers are freelancers, and they basically have a few clients they work on. In terms of rates, you probably want to have a look on Upwork and other places, and also you want to think about your lifestyle, where you want to live, and then divide, see what's a decent cost of living for yourself, and then try to find out how much you would have to earn per hour to maintain that cost of living monthly.
Exactly.
For,
And in
for
terms
time,
of
yeah.
scaling,
Mhm.
it's pretty difficult because the only way you can do that is if you have multiple clients simultaneously, and of course, as your reputation grows, you'll be able to attract more clients. But your time of actually delivering on these things will be difficult, right? So you will need a team to a certain degree eventually.
Yeah, so that's why I've put a two there, and I said it's easy
Yeah,
because if you can actually scale it, if you create a social media agency, it's kind of a different breed there, but it is possible, and you can scale it to hiring other freelancers under you as a company, and then you can get a few more clients. So you can create a small digital marketing social media agency if you want to. I think we had different angles, but yeah, I agree. Like if you want to scale this business, it's hard to do it on your own. So you wanna hire other people to help you do that. Yes. For time to break even, I think that's arguable. I think it depends on where you live and what's your standard of living. I mean, obviously you want to charge fair and a decent amount for hourly or like monthly. Obviously if you live in India, that's going to be cheaper to live there, and then if you live in Europe, you'll have to have a higher rate. So it all depends, I would say. Just look around and see what people, for example, if you're working with American markets, and you offer quality service, look how much people are charging if they live in the US, or the same with Europe. Because you can't really live with, like, I don't know, maybe five, like $10 a day in Europe. It's impossible. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So look into that. And Ryan, what would you say people can find these kind of gigs or jobs in your experience?
So I would say, of course, on social media platforms is the easiest because if you're already doing content on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok, on other platforms, and you get recognized for, let's say, some videos, some reels, some content that you're putting out, then that would be a great organic way. Of course, the other way is to go on to, freelance platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, Contra, and so on, and build your profile, get a few gigs in through these platforms, and then you'll be able to understand what is it your best offering should be. Certain number of posts plus certain number of like you can do content in terms of videos as well, stories, helping them reach out to other brands and build their social media revenue for them, and
Yeah.
basically making them the business while you work on the operations of it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to tell you, in my experience, when I was younger, I tried to do some service on Upwork, and it's extremely competitive. It's hard to start because your profile is brand new. So you
Exactly.
probably have to work for free, unfortunately. I mean, I know it's not fair, and it's really up to you if you want to do that. But I know, again, a lot of people have worked for free initially on Upwork just to build up their profile, and it does take time. So yeah, that's a good place to start, I would say. Another thing that people don't really mention is networking. So whenever we travel to places like where I am, to co-living spaces or meetups somewhere, digital nomad meetups, just ask around, because you'd be surprised, but a lot of nomads are quite successful and they've got a lot of work experience. Some of them have their own businesses, so they might recommend you, or they could even work with you, or they might know some companies that are hiring. So use your network as much as you can. And then I would say, see if you can join some marketing agencies and apply for literally jobs there, because they get the contracts for you, and they'll either get a cut or they're just going to employ you. And that's how you can build your portfolio. So yeah, basically just look for jobs or contracts if you can on LinkedIn or other remote job websites. We can also leave going to leave some
Also,
help in
cold
the.
DMing, people that
Yeah, exactly.
you know how to create
Assuming, yeah,
content.
assuming
Yeah,
that you have a list, right? But a lot of people who get into this, especially if they're young, they don't have this kind of list. So, I mean, yeah, you can cold email. You can create the list yourself, so you can get
yeah,
like,
people that you actually have connected with, or you find their content useful, and you feel you can add value to their, you know, profiles, and monetize things for them, or just make
yeah,
things
you.
easier,
Mhm. You
for
could
them.
choose a few industries. So let's say you can go on LinkedIn Navigator, and then you can choose some industries there. Get a few contacts from LinkedIn Navigator. That's going to cost you maybe $60 a month, and I think that's for 1,000 emails. So you can just start filtering LinkedIn and just go to the marketing managers of these companies, like small and medium. I would say, yeah, just target that initially. It's much easier to get hold of people, and then you can just propose them like, just come up with an offer, or try and work for free for them for like a month and just prove yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. How about the monthly revenue, Ryan? I think we both agreed it can be high. Why did you put a four there?
So I put that it can be high because um, the amount can be high if you have a percentage of revenue that you bring in, right? So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, you're able to, let's say, as an agent or as like a manager for a social media influencer or a content creator, you're able to bring them maybe one or two brand deals, or paid engagements, right? Then that can really bring in some revenue for you when you're getting a small percentage of that.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Like in my experience, I know that you charge an hourly fee in these kind of agencies. So I think it could be a possibility that you can actually ask for share of revenue from that contract. I think it could be doable.
Yeah.
The way it works in my experience is just, yeah, hourly charge, or like a quarterly charge, the retainer package or something like that. But again, like if you scale, or if you have a very good service level, you can charge quite high amounts, I would say, and it depends on the client as well. If you get the average brand, then you can charge more because they can afford as well. And yeah, I think you can sustain yourself definitely from a social media management job, which is quite serious at the moment. You can use AI, and by the way, Ryan, if you use AI, you can scale faster. I would say you can scale, not necessarily faster, but you can actually scale as a solopreneur, or like as a freelancer.
Exactly.
Things like creating the captions with Claude or with ChatGPT, getting some caption ideas, getting some creative ideas, doing some scheduling analysis, and seeing the best performing posts. I mean, sky's the limit, but it's actually easier to scale at the moment as we speak, with the new tools coming on the market, and that's great.
Yeah, and it's important to mention these tools because people may not know that these tools can be used for social media management and making content for other people. They may just be thinking about them using these tools for themselves, right? But it's important that whilst you can do it yourself, maybe to practice, maybe to learn, maybe to get really, really good at one thing, right? And build your own profile. this is the same thing that you can use to build somebody else's profile, or add value to that. I think so.
Yeah, I think another thing to mention is try to have a portfolio that looks really good. You use a design tool, make sure that you state some of your wins with other clients if you have, and try to have like a guidebook or like a portfolio folder where you just show your wins in a creative way and also the things you can do, including AI. I'm pretty sure. I mean, everyone is on the bandwagon here. It's no secret. Like
Yeah.
everyone is using AI, so I don't think you should hide that. I think people should be happy that you can deliver more and you can create more volume. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's all about volume now. So there's a lot of AI on social networks. So there's literally, if you don't join the crew, you're out. But again, you can do it in an ethical way. You don't have to copy paste from the AI
Exactly.
tool. You
You
can
can
just
add your own
spend a
spin
few
to it.
minutes exactly and add your spin and add your flip and make it sound more human or more funny or more interesting.
True.
Yeah,
Very true.
awesome, Ryan. I think we cleared this out as well. It's definitely a proper job, I would say, the social media management. I mean, I was laughing years ago. I remember like 10 years ago, I couldn't believe this was included in like the top 10 upcoming jobs for the 21st
Back then,
century or for. Remember, right? We were like, what's this? Like, it's ridiculous. But now it's a
and
huge thing. Like,
and
yeah,
we're still talking about it in 2024, right?
exactly, and it's only getting hotter because of AI. So very interesting. And the last one, which I think is also a very cool topic, is the drone filming. It's kind of a niche job or like a niche hobby, I would say, if you want to put it like that. I think it all starts with a hobby, but again, this is now like a proper business, I would say, for a lot of people who like filming and doing content, and they love editing as well. One thing I have to mention about drone filming, because I've started doing some drone footage, is that there is a lot of work in editing the videos, and there's a lot of work into learning how to pilot a drone. It's not really that easy if you want to get
Yeah,
those nice shots. So just keep that in mind. I can start a bit about talking about this, Ryan, because I've got some experience.
that'd be great.
So I think the cost of capital needed is a bit high. I wouldn't say it's like super high, but it's a bit high. I couldn't put a three here because it's in the middle. But I say it's high because you wanna get maybe two drones, or maybe you wanna get like a cheaper drone to get used to it, and do it for training, use it for training, and then you want to get a more expensive drone, which like a professional drone, which is about maybe over like thousand, maybe about $2,000,
Okay.
and start filming with that. Another thing you have to keep in mind is that you will need a permit for drones that are over 250 grams, because they can be dangerous if they fall from the sky, and you also have to learn how to pilot them, especially if you don't have them in sight. So that you're going to have to spend some money on trainings and accreditations, I would say. And another thing which is quite annoying about drone filming is that you actually need to submit papers and apply for paperwork if you want to film in a lot of scenic places like Italy, for example, or some of the major European cities. You can't actually film there without permits, and in some instances, you can't film at all. There was a famous case in Italy with a guy who actually went to or was about to go to jail in Rome, because he filmed around the Colosseum.
Okay, yeah.
So you really want to look into where it's allowed and where it's not. You'd be surprised, but a lot of places do not allow you flying without a permit. So without the permit submitted to the aerial authority or however they're called in that place. Luckily, in Europe, there is only because everything is standardized right now. You need. I mean, if you have like a European fly permit, then you can fly it anywhere in Europe. But you also need to submit the papers to the local authority or to the European Union or something like that. So it's not really that straightforward. I think in Asia things are easier, but in Europe and in the States and the UK, it's quite a hustle. So I think that's one of the major hurdle, and that's why my cost is high. So what was your take on this one, Ryan?
So I think for the drones, the one thing is the cost is initially, relatively high due to the purchase of a high quality drone and other
Yeah,
equipment,
yeah.
getting
You need extra
certification.
batteries. You need the carry case. You need spares. You're gonna probably
Exactly.
break some of the propellers. Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
accessories
hopefully
as
you get
well.
some insurance for
Yeah,
for this as well, because
it's actually mandatory to have insurance for
yeah,
the big drones if you want to fly them. Yeah, you're right.
and that's why I think it's a high cost of capital. But the
Mm-hmm.
interesting thing is that this is something that you can do if you're passionate about it and if you enjoy it, right? And it's something that, of course, you can carry it around where you're traveling and where you set base up for, like, let's say a couple of weeks or maybe even a month. You can always reach out ahead, and this is where the time and effort goes in, right? Where you either are doing drone footage for people, or you're going so far as being able to, take some workshops or do some courses to teach other people about how to, fly drones and things like that, right?
Indeed,
So,
yeah.
so those are two things that you could combine, not only actually doing drone footage, but also teaching the skills that somebody requires to learn these things. And it could be, from the actual technical skills of how to fly, and also giving them the information with regards to, regulations, compliance that they need to at least be aware about, right? Can't physically tell everybody all the rules that are in all the world, right, with regards to drones, but putting that idea in them that these are things that they need to take care of is actually important, right? Because
Absolutely.
sometimes you may be able to, you know, you may think you're able to film, but it's actually barred from filming in that area, right?
Yeah, I mean, the different ways of getting the contracts for drone filming. I know people who have started to do drone movies on their own and posted that on their Facebook groups or on LinkedIn, for example. And then ultimately they got that was in Asia, right? Ultimately they got some contracts with some of the resorts.
Hmm.
So you can do travel shooting. You can also do when it comes to time to break even. We both said it's easy. So because you can actually publish the content on some platforms like Unsplash or other like video stock footage, and then every time there's a download, you get a fee from there. So that's how you can scale. I think if you do some really cool drone footage, you know what you're doing. You can just upload your videos on all these platforms, like Shutterstock and Shutterstock, I think it's called, and other things. So that's one way to do it. The other way is just to do private gigs for companies that need to, present their like travel business. Or I mean, there are a lot of things you can. I have a friend who was doing. Um, he was doing wedding footage with a drone, and obviously normal footage as well, normal footage with a normal camera and pictures. So you can combine those ones into like event footage. But yeah, obviously the drone footage is more expensive
Oh, for
because
sure.
it
Yeah.
requires more skills, and it's kind of a unique thing. So that's another way to monetize your drone, as you said, courses as well. I think it all depends on, yeah, the fee you charge and kind of your niche. I don't know which one is more profitable, if it's travel, or if it's weddings, or action movies, if you're that good. Like I know a lot of influencers, for example, they want action footage with a drone.
Hmm.
I've seen these services offered in the Philippines, for example, if you want to have like surfing footage from the
Swimming with the
drone.
sharks, yeah, swimming with the sharks
Yeah,
or Maldives.
yeah. Hopefully in a safe way. So
Yeah.
you want to capture positive stuff on the drone. Yeah, indeed, yeah. So there are these services, you see them all around these digital nomad hotspots where influencer hang around, and they're alone, for example, like solo travelers, and they can't feel themselves, so they'll hire like a surfing video editor, or like a drone pilot to capture that when doing action.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the scalability,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, so I think the reason for, not so high of a scalability, or why it's difficult, right, is because you can only take on multiple projects simultaneously if you have multiple drones. And also, I think what you also need is creating that portfolio, right? So until your
Yeah.
portfolio has grown to a large extent, right, then maybe you can try looking at getting bigger contracts, and that'll make it feasible.
Yeah, so I think we differ here, but I've seen this from a different angle, and that's okay. So my idea was that you can actually do some other cross businesses when it comes to drone footage. So you
Mhm.
can be a video editor as well because you know how to do that. Um, you can do courses online, or you can create your own group where you talk to other drone passionate people and discuss like locations or techniques or stuff like that, and you can charge for that as well. So you can scale it not necessarily like physically, but maybe in the digital realm. And
Exactly.
also you can keep posting all your footage on different platforms, like even on maybe Gumroad or other creative platforms that share videos. So obviously, the more platforms you share it to, the higher your income, because you're gonna monetize all of them. So that's
Right.
what I had in mind. When it comes to physical footage, obviously it's you have limited time, and also have limited time to edit things, edit the video. So it's not really that scalable if you're watching it from that perspective. So I agree with you there. I think we agree to disagree somehow.
Yeah, and the other aspect I think is also creating content and then, putting it on these platforms where, people can license your B-roll or your, for their
Hmm.
blogs or their content that they're making, right? So there
Yeah.
are probably multiple platforms where you can put up as stock footage, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's how I see it, that it can
yeah,
scale. So the more footage you have, the obviously the more you can scale, but to have that footage you need time. So again, it's somewhere in the middle, but there are channels to monetize your footage. I would say you've got Unsplash, you've got Pexels, you've got Shutterstock. There are so many platforms that there are actually websites with drone footage exclusively, where they only have drone footage, and I think you pay like maybe $50 a month, and you can download as much as you can. So here you go, stuff like that.
that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And when it comes to market revenue, I think we differ again. So Ryan, you put up for there. Can you tell me why?
So I feel that if you're charging per product, you can have so per project, you can have different rates for like bigger events or more festive events. For example, you're doing drone footage covering, let's say, a wedding. You can have much higher budget, right? Versus on the other hand, you can also do high budget commercial projects like for a hotel or a restaurant or a cafe by the beach, right? These are
Correct.
places where you can charge high ticket because they're looking for bringing in these drones to bring in money and bring in a lot of revenue or people that come there, right? So you can develop a quite an interesting pricing structure, right, based on the complexities of projects and also try to consider various things that you can bundle on, right? Like maybe you have a good voiceover and you want to do the intro for like the restaurant or the cafe that you're gonna also do the video, right?
Or
Because
you can edit the big montage, including normal footage and then drone footage. So you can go into editing videos as well and charge for that, maybe.
correct, yeah, right? But I think in general, it's more about combining your strengths with this chosen business that you've done, right? And provide people with drone footing for the filming contracts, for example, that can go for multiple. Let's say every month you bring out your drone, you take a uh, couple of shots in a different setting. Maybe they have some event happening, things of that nature. That will help, build that platform not only for yourself, right, but also for them because they'll have multiple, stock images that they can keep repurposing, reusing, right, and then post that period, they can just keep repurposing the same content again and again, right? Just like how when you have for a festival, right? Like if you're going for, let's say, Sunburn or some sort of a music festival, right? There's always like an after movie, but those are chopped up pieces of content from maybe two, three different
Yeah.
uh, uh, episodes or years ago.
Yeah, I think my take here was, from the beginner's perspective, it's quite hard to get the gigs initially, and you can't really charge that much. Plus, you have to learn a lot. So I think initially, I think the revenue can be low, but then as you get better and you get better with your marketing, and then you can also maybe create like groups where you can also charge people to be part of and discuss. and cross sell and upsell other things related to the drone industry, then maybe you can, you could even sell drone accessories and stuff like that online. So you could scale it up. And yeah, I think I also agree with you at one point that you can actually, but you have to reach an experience level there. So you have to be, I would say, almost an expert to be able to monetize really well the industry. Again, mostly due to the fact that you're limited by time, unless you have a small team. Another thing, Ryan, I think we should mention is that you're kind of tied to the location more or less. So if you have a gig, for example, in Thailand, and you have to be there for 2 weeks to film and do the footage, then it's you do travel, but it's not on your own terms. So you can't really take the laptop with you. You have to stick with that location. It's still
Okay.
not bad. I mean, it's still great that you can see the world and then get these gigs.
Okay.
Um, but I would say the time schedule is not that flexible as being a laptop digital nomad.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. You do have to go to where the
exactly.
clients are taking you, or you could reverse engineer and uh, reach out to
Yep,
businesses and
local
influencers
businesses.
and people before you reach somewhere, right? And then once you are there, right, you do those sessions and you're good to go to the next place, right?
Yeah, one funny thing to mention is that here in Morocco, for example, you're not allowed to fly the drone. I think you need a special permit from the government, so it's really difficult to get. And people usually leave their drones at the airport. There is a big sign. Also in Egypt, it's not allowed. So in some countries, it's not allowed to film at all unless you have. And I think they're really complicated to get these kind of special permits. So keep that in mind as well. Some countries are pretty closed. Obviously, you can do it at your own risk. I
Hmm.
wouldn't recommend, but yeah, keep that in mind too.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Cool, Ryan. Thanks a lot. I mean, it was
It was
it
an
was really good to,
interesting
to chat.
episode again.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm guessing we're gonna do another one. We have a big list of things we have to discuss, and we're gonna see each other soon. And I hope people find this useful. And please leave any comments in the comments below in this video if you have any questions about this type of business, and we'll try to point you to the right resource or the right person. Ryan, thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.
Same here. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, talk soon. Take care.
Yes.
Bye bye.